Hello again, everyone. It's time for another interview with another one of the board candidates for the Mount Vernon Township High School Board. The election will be held on April the 4th, and today we're pleased to be visiting with Brian Rogers. And Brian, it's great to have you here, and thanks so much for agreeing to participate in the interview with us.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. I think this is a good opportunity for people to see who we are and what our thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I get into the questions, why don't we give you an opportunity to tell the public a little bit about yourself, your background, maybe why you're motivated to run for the school board, and also why you feel like you're qualified to be on the school board.
Well, my background is I'm the middle of two sons of Don and Joyce Rogers, typically the Rogers family tire business. Both my brothers and my father have been in the business. I'm kind of the forgotten son because I'm not in the family business. I am currently employed at Continental Tire, going on 27 years. I am a group leader for Quality Engineering Group, so I supervise professional engineers in that endeavor. Lot of experience with dealing with people, customer complaints. Interacting with various people from different countries, different nationalities. So the reason that I felt like I might be, qualified or have something to offer is a background in that type of situation where I have to step up. I do lead a group. I manage multiple projects. I do performance reviews. I set procedures. I audit procedures. That's all part of my team. I do have a son that is currently in school. I felt like, hey, brand new school, what a great opportunity for the community, for me, to become a part of that. I have participated in the JCSA baseball programs. Spent a lot of time with the children growing up through that, or my son growing up through that. I'm no longer doing that, so I kind of felt a need to, or a feeling to get involved with the community. And so I could see some things going on with the board where I thought they could use some help. And so that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of what led me to this. I think I can give unbiased input, and I think they need the direction for sure.
Okay, great. Well, one of the major concerns right now at Mount Vernon Township High School is teacher turnover and teacher morale. If elected to the school board, how do you believe that you can impact this issue in a positive way?
Well, first of all, I don't think any one individual has any magic answer to fix all the problems. I believe that the board is comprised of several people that have differing backgrounds, different experiences, and that we pull from all that experience to make well-informed decisions. My personal thoughts on that is right now, one of the items that has come up is no exit interviews. I think that's a low-hanging fruit that we could immediately resolve. We need to know why our teachers are not happy, why they're not leaving. I'm willing to make just a simple Excel spreadsheet, to come up with something on that. The board needs some type of information to assess the environment of the school, and I don't think they've been getting that type of information. Part of what I would like to see or correct there is what is causing the turnover, what is causing people to not be satisfied in a brand new school. That just amazes me that we've got so much to offer and people are leaving. I do know through information and discussions that there is some issues with some of the administration there that is probably causing some of this unrest and uneasiness amongst our teachers. I think that needs to be quantified and addressed. I think that goes a long way in helping the teachers not only want to be here, but to stay. So there's some serious questions there that need to be answered. I don't know what information the board currently has in their possession, but I am definitely feel like we need some information to make some decisions. It's important that our teachers be happy. If our teachers aren't happy, they can't present the proper learning environment that the students need. The students see the teachers not happy. It rubs off in a negative way. So, we need to find a way to root out the problems, put some remedies in, bring up the morale, make Mount Vernon a place where teachers want to come, not to leave. And I think that'll cause a chain reaction, not only with the teachers, but also with the students and the community.
Another issue at Mount Vernon Township High School that many have discussed is there is seemingly a lack of transparency or open communication with the public. What do you think can be done to improve communication and transparency at the high school?
Well, to me, it's simple. You communicate. I don't understand why the board remains silent. In one of the duties of the president of the board is to communicate with the media. I don't see that. I see the superintendent doing all the communication. To me that's backwards. I'm not sure. Again, I'm on the outside looking in, but from what I see is the board for some reason doesn't feel comfortable communicating. Now, last fall, I was in some conversation with some board members, and they asked me personally, so what would you do? What one thing would you do that you think would help benefit the school immediately? I said, communicate. There's a lack of communication. There's questions out there. If you don't answer the questions, people fill in the blanks. And when they fill in the blanks, it may or may not be accurate, and all things kind of go south from there. You have to communicate. Even if you have something to say that you feel like the people don't want to hear, they can accept that. They just don't like to be silent. I want to promote communication. I'm not afraid to talk, or I wouldn't be here talking to you today. I am reading the entire board policy manual. There's, 500 pages or something. And so I don't know all the ins and outs yet on what a board member or the group of board members can communicate or how necessary to communicate. But I think the board needs to communicate and be transparent with the people. Like I said, I'm not afraid to ask for forgiveness. If I vote on something and I had misinformation and that's brought to my attention, hey, something wasn't right here, I'll be the first one to say, I screwed up. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Let's move on. I think it's just being honest and showing what we're doing, what we're talking about, and having minutes available. There's nothing that we're doing that should be secret.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think without a doubt, everyone wants their son or daughter to have a quality education. And according to the report card for Mount Vernon Township High School that has been released by the Illinois State Board of Education, the ACT test scores have been dropping at Mount Vernon Township High School in recent years. Meanwhile, the graduation rate is declining and the dropout rate is increasing. What do you believe can and should be done to address these concerns at the high school?
Yeah, that's very alarming. The whole reason or the main reason of the school function is for students to learn and become active citizens for the community. I highly believe in benchmarking. I think we need to benchmark schools that we view as being successful, whose scores aren't dropping, whose scores are actually rising. See what they are doing to help improve that situation. I think a good learning environment also is conducive to that. There's tensions and fights and things that go on at a high school level. I think we need to form a respect campaign to try to resolve some of that tensions. Students shouldn't be afraid to come to school. Students shouldn't be afraid to show themselves because they're worried about navigating through the school and not focusing on learning or going to class. I think there's a lot of things that could help with the test scores. Again, teacher morale. We got it. Our teachers are are treasured assets of the school. They need to be respected. They need to be trusted. They need to be allowed to do what they need to do without fear of someone hovering over them, without a lock and key on their actions. If our teachers are happy, that creates a positive environment for learning. The students see that. Some of the students, the teacher is the only bright spot of their day. And if the teacher's happy, they want to learn. They want to be more active. It's just. But I think benchmarking would help with that. What's successful schools doing? We can't keep doing the same thing if we're not getting a better result. We have to change what we're doing.
Okay, let's move on to our next issue. There has been much discussion about the cost of the new school, as well as the ongoing spending that many consider to be somewhat wasteful. As a board member, if you were elected, how would you try to contain cost at the high school?
Well, first of all, this is an area where I'm kind of outside looking in. I'm not privy to the school financials. I'm not real deep into that situation. One thing I do know, when you're in a situation of expenditures, rising cost, you got to get that under control. I think we need to formulate a let's say, type of a spending cap and monitor that. I think spending needs to go through the board, once it reaches a certain level, so that not everybody is spending money in a way that the community wouldn't want it to be spent. Obviously, the school is the costs are much higher than what the community believed it to be, and it continues to increase. That is alarming. Right now, we can't change where we're at with the new school, but we can try to tighten the belt, see what we can do to be more fiscal responsible. Whether that's forming, I know there's a building committee, but maybe we get more involved in committees, get more people input, that's professionals in that type. I'll be honest, I'm not a financial expert, and I won't pretend to be, but I think, that's why there's multiple people on the board to use the strengths of the entire entity. I am fiscal responsible. I don't believe in waste, and that's definitely something that concerns me.
Okay, well, the school district is still spending a sizable amount of money to maintain the old campus. What do you think should be done with the old campus?
Well, first of all, I'm assuming there was a plan for dealing with the old campus before the new campus was even completed. I have to be honest, what that plan is or was, I don't know. Maybe there wasn't a plan. If there wasn't, that's kind of ridiculous. I think it's very wasteful to continue spending money on something that we're not using. We need to get that off our books, off our back. How we do that, that's an area that I'm going to have to rely on input from whatever's currently on the books as slated to do. Maybe there's things that have been slated to do that we're just not following through with. If that's not the case, we need to create a plan to get out from that burden as soon as possible. I don't know what the legalities are with the city, with the insurance, with those type of liabilities, but I think we can form a group, a committee, a team to come up with a solution to that, because spending money on something that we're not using is not prudent at all. We can use that money, as we know, to fix some things in the new school that aren't quite up to par yet.
Well, as you know, in high school, teachers will give grades, letter grades, to students based upon their effort and their performance. So if you were to give a letter grade to the current administration, what letter grade would you give them and why?
I think at this point, I would have to give them probably a D. I don't know that I give them an E. I mean, we do have a beautiful school. There's a lot of negativity surrounding it. At the end of the day, we have a nice school. Sure, it's it's not what a lot of us anticipated, even myself. You know, you can talk about the gymnasium, you can talk about some of the, you know, the maintenance building, things like that. I don't know how those things are missed. You know, I'm assuming there's a project manager, but you know, there's definitely things there that need to be corrected. But in that regard, you know, I give them a little credit for that. But overall, you know, I can't give them more than a D, because here we are in a brand new school, and there's a black cloud hanging over the whole situation. You know, our first graduating class from the new school is having to go through this, you know, this kind of turmoil between the faculty and the board and the media. They've not been able to enjoy it. Something obviously is not working, or we wouldn't be sitting here talking about all these issues. You know, I personally have created, you know, a list of 20 issues with probably 50 bullet points that are concerns or things that I have opinions and comments on. We can do better. You know, I think we can do better. I know we can do better. And that's, you know, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to get involved at all. What's going on here? We need some leadership. We need some input. Something, just doing the same thing is not getting us anywhere.
Okay, well, with 1 year left on the contract of the current superintendent, you will be involved in the hiring of a new superintendent if you are elected to the board. So what are some of the traits, strengths, and characteristics that you would look for in a new superintendent?
Well, looking for a new superintendent, you know, first of all, you know, we'd come up with a list of prospective employees there. I would want to look at, you know, who's coming, where they're coming from. Where's the school at? Where's the ACT scores at? Where's the, you know, let's research the newspaper articles. We don't want to pick somebody that is escaping somewhere where there's a lot of turmoil and damage. We want somebody that's succeeded, you know, where the school's thriving, where the turnover rate is low. You know, that we want to find a candidate that wants to be part of our community. You know, wants to live here, be active. If I'm a board member, you know, I can be approached at Walmart or the local restaurant or where I'm at. Why shouldn't the superintendent be part of that community? You know, I want somebody that has already shown to have a proven track record, or somebody that we already know that may already be within our system that has already shown the aptitude and ability to be a solid leader and somebody of moral character.
So based upon what you just said, do you believe then that the Mount Vernon Township High School superintendent should live in the school district?
I do. I believe, you know, the school is, in a sense, the community. The students that graduate, you know, stay typically in the community. You know, a lot of them go to college. Most of them come back. It's a community thing. I do. I think that should be a part. I think I should be in the community, you know, in the district. You know, I do.
Well, due to time constraints, Brian, that's really all the questions that I have for you. But is there anything else that you would like to comment on or share with the public leading up to the election on April 4th?
One thing, you know, I'm not a professional speaker. I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of stances on the issues. I may not come across, you know, in this interview very solid. But if somebody's got a question, you'll come to me. I've already answered 2 questions today for people that wanted to seek my opinion on there. I also know that, you know, I'm not a one-person fix-it-all. Like I said before, we need a diverse board with different strengths, different abilities to come together. If all the members have the same ability, I don't think that's good. I also feel like this shouldn't be emotional. You know, that's one of the things that I think that I can bring from my job experience is in the engineering aspect, You can't make emotional decisions. You have to use facts. You have to analyze the situation and make the best decision you can with the information you got. I think it's a mistake to make decisions purely on emotion. You know, I wouldn't be running or doing this interview if I didn't want to help. You know, so you know, I'm asking for people's vote. You know, give me a chance to help. Give me a chance to change. The new board will definitely be a change, and you know, if I'm not part of that new board, I will support and back that board. But I do feel like I have some skill sets that I could, you know, put into it to help things, you know, be better.
Brian, I really appreciate your time, and again, thank you so much for participating in this interview as one of the candidates as well.
Absolutely. You know, like I said, this is something new to me. I'm not a professional orator, but I appreciate the communication.
Absolutely. And again, we want to encourage everyone to look at all of the interviews that we're doing with each of the candidates for the Mount Vernon Township High School Board. Become familiar with each of them, and then be sure and vote at the election on April the 4th.